The impossible detection. The warning that changed everything. Station Commander Kelrix had served the Viridian Empire for 62 standard cycles. His species, the Viridians, were known across the galaxy for their patience and precision. They had built the greatest monitoring network ever conceived, spanning across 53,000 star systems. Every ship, every signal, every movement in their territory was tracked and recorded. The Infinite Archive, as they called it, contained 70 million years of accumulated data. Nothing surprised the Viridians anymore. Nothing could. Kelrix stood before the main display wall in Observation Hub Epsilon 9, watching the familiar patterns of light that represented normal space traffic. Merchant vessels moved along established trade routes. Military patrols followed their predictable schedules. Everything was as it should be. Everything was always as it should be. He allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. Another shift without incident. Another day of perfect order in a perfectly ordered universe. Then, the alarm sounded. The impossible reading. The sound was so unfamiliar that Kelrix didn't recognize it at first. In his entire career, he had never heard the priority alert. The other operators in the hub froze at their stations. All 6 of Kelrix's eyes focused on his primary screen. What he saw made his blood crystallize. A contact had appeared at the extreme edge of Sector 92. The display showed a vessel, but something was terribly wrong. Where the identification code should have been, there was only a blinking red symbol. Unknown. That word hadn't appeared in the Viridian monitoring system for 18,000 years. The Infinite Archive knew everything. It tracked every spacefaring species, every ship design, every propulsion signature in the known galaxy. There were no unknowns. Kelrix initiated the standard verification protocol. Perhaps the sensors had malfunctioned. Perhaps there was interference from a nearby stellar phenomenon. The diagnostic program ran through every possible source of error. 2 minutes passed. The results appeared on his screen. All systems functioning at optimal capacity. The reading was accurate. He ran the diagnostic again. Then a third time. Then a fourth time. Each time, the same result. The vessel was real. It was there. And it was moving. Speed beyond comprehension. The velocity reading was what truly terrified Kelrix. The unknown vessel was traveling at 0.91 light speed. He stared at the number, certain it must be wrong. The fastest ships in the Viridian fleet could achieve 0.58 light speed under maximum power. The legendary Zereth Raiders, famous for their hit-and-run tactics, managed 0.53. The speed-obsessed Quillen Courier Guild reached 0.6 on their best runs. Nobody moved at 0.91. The energy requirements were astronomical. The structural stress would tear apart any known hull material. The inertial forces would crush any crew into molecular paste. It was physically impossible, yet there it was on his screen, moving faster than anything in recorded history. Kelrix's hands trembled as he reached for the emergency communication array. The panel glowed red as he activated it. "This is Observation Hub Epsilon 9 to Imperial Command. Priority Omega. Repeat, Priority Omega. We have an unknown contact. No archive match. Velocity exceeds all known parameters." The response came within seconds. "Epsilon 9, this is Command. Verify your message. Did you say unknown?" "Confirmed," Kelrix replied, fighting to keep his voice steady. "Unknown vessel. 0 archive data. Current velocity, 0.91 light speed. Course heading, 347 Mark 8. There was a pause that seemed to stretch forever. Then a new voice filled the channel. "This is Supreme Admiral Vecthor. Commander Kelrix, I need you to run a full system diagnostic and resend all data. What you're describing is impossible. Already completed, sir. 4 times. All systems nominal. The contact is real. The Empire mobilizes. Admiral Vector's voice carried the weight of 3 centuries of military service. All stations, activate Defense Protocol Alpha 7. I want the 2nd Fleet and 5th Fleet to intercept coordinates immediately. Deploy every long-range sensor array we have. I want to know everything about this vessel. Kelrix watched as the strategic display lit up with movement. Across dozens of star systems, Viridian warships broke from their standard patrols and turned toward the unknown contact. The fleet was magnificent. Each vessel was a masterpiece of engineering, refined over millennia of constant improvement. The Viridians had the most powerful military in the galaxy. Their weapons could shatter moons. Their shields could withstand stellar radiation. They had never lost a war. But they were slow. At maximum velocity, the fleet would need 14 hours to reach interception position. The unknown vessel would arrive at the nearest inhabited system in 9 hours. That system was Belthara Prime, home to 12 billion Viridian citizens. Kelrix felt his chest tighten. Whoever controlled that impossible ship would reach a populated world before the fleet could stop them. More data streamed across Kelrix's console. Scientists from the Imperial Academy began analyzing every detail of the mysterious vessel. The ship's hull composition showed elements that didn't match anything in the database. The energy signature was completely foreign. Even the vessel's shape was strange, all smooth curves and odd angles, unlike the angular efficiency of Viridian design. The vessel stops. Junior Operator Thessa called out from her station. "Commander, the vessel is decelerating." Kelrix's eyes snapped to the main display. She was correct. The unknown ship was slowing down. Fast. Impossibly fast. In just 8 minutes, it went from 0.91 light speed to a complete stop. Kelrix felt his breathing stop with it. The mathematics were brutal. That deceleration rate should have liquefied anything organic inside the vessel. Even with the most advanced inertial dampening systems, safe deceleration from those speeds required at least 45 minutes. This ship did it in 8. Whatever was inside that vessel was either dead or beyond anything the Viridians understood about biology and physics. Admiral Vector's voice returned to the channel. All stations maintain maximum weapon range. Do not engage unless fired upon. We don't know what we're dealing with. Form a defensive sphere around the contact. The Viridian fleet moved into position. 400 warships, each one 3 kilometers long, surrounded the small, unknown vessel. It sat motionless in space, barely 400 meters from end to end. It looked fragile compared to the massive Viridian dreadnoughts, but Kelrix knew better than to judge by size. That tiny ship had just done the impossible. First contact. The communication alert sounded across every frequency simultaneously. "Commander," Thessa said, her voice tight with tension, "the vessel is broadcasting. All channels, audio and visual." "Put it through," Kelrix ordered. Sound filled the observation hub. It was a voice, speaking in a completely unknown language. The words were rapid, strange, full of hard consonants and flowing vowels. The Infinite Archive immediately began working to translate. Usually the process took seconds. The archive contained 93 million languages from every corner of the galaxy. 1 minute passed, then 5, then 20. Finally, text began appearing on Kelrix's screen. The translation was rough at first, but it improved rapidly as the archive learned the patterns. Kelrix read the words aloud, his voice barely above a whisper. "Greetings. We come in peace. We are explorers from Earth, seeking knowledge and friendship. This is Captain Games Chen of the exploration vessel Wanderer. We apologize for any alarm we may have caused. We had no idea anyone lived in this region. Our star charts showed empty space." Earth. Immediately, Kelrix queried the archive. No results. No planet called Earth existed in any database. No species from such a world. No records of any kind. The archives searched deeper, going back thousands of years, then millions. Nothing. Admiral Vector's response was measured and careful. Unknown vessel wanderer. This is Admiral Vector of the Viridian Imperial Fleet. You have entered sovereign territory without authorization. You are currently surrounded by our military forces. Power down all systems and prepare for inspection. The reply came quickly. The voice was male, calm, and strangely cheerful. Admiral Vector, hello! It's an honor to meet you. We're happy to cooperate fully. Just one small issue, though. We're not entirely sure how to power down. Our propulsion system doesn't work quite like traditional engines. We can shut down the primary drive if that would help. Admiral.
The truth revealed. Inside the Wanderer. Captain James Chen floated in the zero-gravity command center of the Wanderer, studying the holographic display that showed the Viridian fleet surrounding his ship. 400 massive warships, each one dwarfing his vessel by a factor of 10. Their weapons were powered up and locked on target. One mistake, and the Wanderer would become scattered atoms. He grinned. "Well, crew, I'd say we've made quite an entrance." His engineer, Dr. Sarah Kim, laughed from her station near the back. "An entrance? Captain, we've terrified them. Look at that formation. They brought everything they have. That's not a greeting party, that's a full military response." Their communications specialist, Lieutenant Marcus Valley, was monitoring the Viridian channels. "Captain, you should hear what they're saying on their internal networks. They're calling emergency council meetings. Their scientists are having breakdowns trying to figure out our propulsion system. One of them actually used the phrase, impossible abomination of physics." James pushed off from a wall and drifted toward the main viewport. Outside, the Viridian ships hung in perfect geometric formation. Beautiful, really. Everything precise and mathematical. "They're organized people," he said thoughtfully. "Very careful, very methodical. Probably been doing things the same way for thousands of years." The holographic display shifted as a new Viridian's face appeared. This one was older, with silver markings along its six-eyed face and wearing elaborate robes. "I am Elder Morphix, Chief Science Advisor to the Viridian Empire. Captain Chen, we need to understand your technology. Your velocity readings are impossible according to all known principles of physics and engineering." The human explanation. James smiled at the camera. "Elder Morphix, it's a pleasure. I'd be happy to explain our propulsion system, though I should warn you, it might not make you feel better. You see, when we first developed faster-than-light travel, we ran into a problem. We couldn't figure out the elegant solution." "The elegant solution," Elder Morphix repeated slowly. "Right. You know, the proper way to do it. Folding space, creating stable wormholes, manipulating gravitational fields, all that sophisticated stuff. We tried for about 20 years and just couldn't crack the math. So we gave up on elegant and went with effective instead." Sarah Kim chimed in from engineering. "We basically built the biggest engines we could fit in a ship and forced our way through the light barrier. Brute force approach. Not pretty, but it works." Elder Morphix's face showed an expression that looked like physical pain. "Brute force through the light barrier? That's not possible. The energy requirements alone would need a power core larger than your entire vessel. Multiple cores, actually." "We used 22 fusion cores," James said cheerfully. "They're packed in pretty tight. Engineering gets hot, which is why Sarah has to wear a cooling suit when she works down there. The cores are linked through a quantum distribution network that channels all that power into our acceleration field generators." 22 cores? The Elder whispered. "In a 400-meter ship? Captain Chen, one malfunction would cause a cascade failure that would destroy everything within 1,000 kilometers. "That's why we have really good engineers," James replied, gesturing at Sarah.
She's kept us running for 3 years without a major incident. Well, there was that one time near the Horsehead Nebula, but we fixed that pretty quickly. The cultural divide. Admiral Vector's voice joined the conversation. Captain Chen, our scientists calculate that your deceleration rate from 0.91 light speed should have killed your entire crew. The inertial forces involved are unsurvivable. Oh, the deceleration, Marcus said. Yeah, that's always fun. Makes your teeth hurt. Your teeth hurt? The Admiral's voice rose slightly. You should be dead, liquefied. No amount of inertial dampening could protect organic life from those forces. James shrugged. We don't really use inertial dampening the way you probably think of it. We use a phased gravity well system. Basically, we create a bubble of altered space-time around the ship that moves with us. Inside the bubble, we're technically not accelerating at all. The bubble is accelerating, and we're just sitting still inside it. That's not how physics works, Elder Morphic said flatly. Respectfully, Elder, it kind of is, Sarah replied. We just had to push the boundaries a bit. A lot, actually. Our first test pilot described it as surfing on a wave of broken mathematics. The Viridian scientist was silent for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. How many test pilots did you lose before achieving success? James felt his smile fade slightly. 17. We don't forget them. Every ship in our fleet carries their names on the hull. They gave us the stars. The Empire's growing concern. A new voice entered the conversation. This was deeper, older, carrying weight that transcended military rank. This is High Chancellor Zevros of the Viridian Grand Council. Captain Chen, I must ask directly, what are humanity's intentions in this region of space? James straightened slightly, recognizing the seriousness of the moment. High Chancellor, our intentions are purely exploratory. Earth sent out 12 vessels like the Wanderer to map unknown regions and make peaceful contact with other species. We're scientists and diplomats, not soldiers. Yet you travel in a vessel that can outrun anything in our fleet. You possess technology that defies our understanding. You appear in our space without warning, without records, without any prior contact. Surely you understand our concern. I do understand, James replied honestly. And I apologize for the shock. We genuinely had no idea anyone lived out here. Our long-range scans showed stellar activity, but no signs of organized civilization. Your communication technology must operate on frequencies we weren't monitoring. Elder Morphix spoke again, his voice troubled. Captain, how many of these exploration vessels has Earth deployed? 12 currently, but we're building more. Our goal is to have 50 exploration ships within the next decade. We want to learn everything we can about the galaxy. 50 ships, the Chancellor said quietly. Each one capable of outrunning our fastest vessels. Each one powered by technology we don't understand. Captain Chen, from our perspective, this is alarming. The human philosophy. James took a deep breath. High Chancellor, I understand your concern, but I think there's a fundamental difference in how our species approach problems. May I be completely honest with you? Please do, the Chancellor replied. The Viridians strike me as a people who perfect things over time. You take a technology and refine it across thousands of years until it's flawless. Your ships are beautiful. Your systems are elegant. Everything works in harmony. Am I right? That is an accurate assessment of our philosophy, Elder Morphix confirmed. We believe in gradual improvement and long-term stability. Humans don't really work that way. We're impatient. When we want something, we want it now. We don't have the luxury of 1,000-year development cycles. Our average lifespan is only about 80 years. So, when we encounter a problem, we throw everything we have at it. We try 1,000 different solutions. Most of them fail, but eventually something works. Sarah added, we call it the human approach. If something seems impossible, we just haven't hit it hard enough yet. Give us a bigger hammer.
That sounds incredibly dangerous, Admiral Vector said. It absolutely is, James agreed. We've had disasters, we've lost people, we've made mistakes that cost us dearly. But we learn from each failure and keep pushing forward. The Wanderer represents 95 years of human stubbornness, refusing to accept limitations. The demonstration. Elder Morphix leaned forward in the display. Captain Chen, would you be willing to demonstrate your propulsion system? Under controlled conditions, of course. Our scientists would benefit greatly from observing it in action. James looked at Sarah, who nodded. We can do a short burst, low power, just enough to show them how it works. The Viridian fleet moved back, creating a larger safe zone around the Wanderer. James took his position at the helm. All right, crew, let's give them a show. Sarah, bring the cores to 15% power. Marcus, make sure they're recording everything. Fusion cores activating. Quantum distribution network online. Gravity well generators charging. We'll be ready for acceleration on your command, Captain. Execute, James ordered. The impossible made real. The Wanderer moved. There was no visible exhaust, no dramatic energy discharge, no flash of light. The ship simply accelerated from a dead stop to 0.4 light speed in 3 seconds. It traveled a distance of 200,000 kilometers, then decelerated back to a stop just as quickly. The entire demonstration took 8 seconds. Every sensor in the Viridian fleet screamed warnings. Alarms sounded across 400 warships. Scientists shouted in confusion and disbelief. The mathematics didn't work. The physics didn't